Stretching used to be one of those things that I felt so guilty for not doing it until I found the routine that I'm about to share with you in today's video that gets me so excited to wake up in the morning, and I feel like I get to do this routine instead of I have to do this routine because it's so fun and effortless. This routine also allowed me to do splits and bridge pose without even trying or aiming to do this. But before we get into any of that, I want to mention that I think a huge part of why I am able to be so flexible is because I eat a very clean diet. Because diet actually plays a huge role when it comes to flexibility. Because when our fascia, which is kind of the material that's around our muscle, is very clogged up with toxins from maybe not as optimal foods that we eat, then that is kind of going to affect the stretching ability in the fascia, so then that way we won't be able to be as flexible. And then another really important thing that I want to mention is I found a routine that I really enjoy. The routine that I'm about to share with you in today's video might not be the routine that you enjoy. So I think it's really important that you take inspiration from what I maybe share today, if that's something you want, but then you find your own unique kind of twist. You find the poses, you find the style of stretching that you enjoy, that again gets you fired up, gets you excited. Like, it's not something you need to drag yourself through, but stretching can actually be incredibly relaxing. For me, if I have the choice between watching a movie and stretching, I'll always choose the stretching because I enjoy it so much. But very often I do both at the same time, which is also a tip that you can use if you find yourself having a hard time wanting to stretch. Just link it with things you're already doing anyway. When I'm editing my reels for Instagram and YouTube, I always like to do it in this pose, which is like the Sphinx pose in yoga. So when we're doing that, we are integrating it into our everyday life. So that's what I wanted to share first step. But now let's get into some tips on how you can stay consistent with your stretching. Because let's be honest, if we don't do it on a regular basis, we're not going to see any results from stretching just one time. So the biggest game changer for me has been to stop being so distracted with all the different options there are when it comes to, different stretching exercises, and to just focus on one routine and doing that same routine every single day. So my body already knows that routine. My body already, like, when I wake up in the morning and it's time to do my stretching, I'm not thinking, okay, what stretching routine am I going to do? I don't have to pick a YouTube video or anything like that. I also don't have to come up with anything myself, which can, I have found for myself, be a roadblock as well sometimes. I do like to free flow as well sometimes and just do the stretching exercises that come through me in the moment that I feel like doing, but that's after I've already done the kind of same routine that I do every single day. And then the other thing that really helps me is to just do it straight after waking up when I'm still a bit sleepy. And then again, what helped me here is to find a routine that is very relaxing, very effortless. Like, I'm not doing an intensive vinyasa or ashtanga yoga series right in the morning, because I do not feel like that right after waking up. But I'm doing something very relaxing, very gentle, and I'm holding the poses up to 2 to 3 minutes. So that also brings me to the style of yoga that I'm doing, and that is yin yoga. And I've fallen in love with yin yoga over the last few years so much. And basically what I'm doing every single morning is a compilation of kind of 3 of my favorite YouTube yin yoga classes, and one of them was actually on Zoom. And I've kind of compiled my favorite poses into one thing. And that also brings me to another tip that helps me to stay consistent. I have some sort of anchor now. This could just be a normal sheet where you write down all the poses. In the beginning, for me, it actually was my MP3 player, where I had the YouTube yoga classes or the Zoom yoga classes I used to participate in on there, just the audio, and then I would put in the headphones, and then I would go through the yoga class with the headphones on, which is possible with yin yoga. It would probably be a little bit more challenging when it comes to ashtanga or like more of a dynamic style. This is also what I like to use. So basically, these are the poses I go through every single time. and I hold each of these poses for 2 to 3 minutes, and this sandwich will tell me when 3 minutes are over. This is also something I haven't developed myself. This is very common in yin yoga, just that I don't have a fancy yin yoga sandwich. There are really fancy ones you can buy, but I just bought this. Literally, you can find these in most like teeth, like where you can find toothbrushes, you can find these. This is where I bought it, and it's so helpful for me to have some sort of frame, to have some sort of anchor. And I realized for me that anchor cannot be a YouTube video, because once I've turned on my computer, I've picked out a yoga class or, you know, stretching, mobility routine, I no longer feel like doing the thing. I have found for myself I need to make it as effortless and easy as possible to get started. And once I'm starting the stretching, I love it. Like, I'm on cloud 9, and I could lay there like literally all day and do the yin yoga stretches. And yeah, a special thing for yin yoga as well is that because we are holding the poses 2 to 3 minutes, we're basically cleansing the fascia. We're kind of releasing all of the toxins. A lot of toxins and heavy metals are stored in the fascia of our muscle, which is the tissue around our muscle. And when we hold the poses for 2 to 3 minutes, all of those toxins can be released, and then we are basically detoxifying our body. And I can definitely feel that my body feels so much cleaner, so much lighter from doing yin yoga every single day. And then of course I've also become more flexible. And another really, really cool benefit of yin yoga for me is that it has a very meditative and effortless nature, which is something I like doing in the morning. I like starting my morning slow, you know, in a very meditative, calm, present, serene way. I don't like to stimulate myself right in the morning. I have my phone turned off, I have my Wi-Fi turned off. I'm just there with the yin yoga. I also don't do any like fancy meditation or anything like that anymore. I really just do the yin yoga, and that's what works best for me. So now I'm going to show you the poses that I like to do and kind of the benefits of those poses. Because as some of you know, I'm also a yoga teacher, and I love talking about yoga and love talking about stretching, as you can maybe see in this video. So let's get into that. Alright, so the very first pose I like to start my practice with is always a child's pose. And the reason a child's pose is such an amazing pose, even though it probably looks quite boring, is because literally my digestive organs are being massaged with the pressure of my thighs. And this is also opening my hips, opening my knees. And yeah, it's just a really cool pose, even though it doesn't look like anything special. The next pose I usually do, which I usually do it with support, so I have 2 yoga pillows on top of my thighs, and then I just lie on there, like relaxing. This is amazing for the hamstrings, especially if you're a runner. This pose is a must. And I would say out of all the poses, if I could only do one, it would probably be this one, because this also helped me to achieve splits, because we're literally stretching the hamstrings in a very calm and relaxing way, which is what actually makes our muscles more flexible. It's not the painful deep stretches, but it's this. The next one is a pigeon pose. It's such a nice stretch for the hips, for the buttocks, and something I really love about this pose is that it releases a lot of emotions. A lot of tension, tightness, heaviness is stored in our hips, and when we do the pigeon pose, we are literally accessing these emotions, and then we can release them from there. So if you ever feel like crying while you're in this pose, there's nothing wrong with you. So but again, it's also a great stretch for runners and for opening those hips. And the next pose I like to do is a middle split, and I also usually have a ton of pillows stacked on here, and I literally just chill. And in this pose, I sometimes also, because this one is actually my e-reader where I have all the poses, sometimes I use the 3 minutes I'm in this pose to either read a little bit or to journal, actually. And the next pose is probably my absolute favorite. It's the reclining warrior. It's evening time, so my body's already warmed up. In the morning, I usually put a yoga a yoga pillow under my heart center. And then this is also really great for opening up the upper back, especially if we're sitting a lot. The next pose I usually also do with a yoga pillow under my heart center. So basically it's like a mixture of the butterfly and the fish. So the fish goes something like this. And then when you have the yoga pillow underneath, it's more like a yin yoga version of it. And again, it's a great one for opening up the upper back, because I feel like when we're sitting a lot, we're rather having our spine round like that. And then when we have like a yin yoga pose where we stay for 3 minutes, where we're opening our spine, it's so nice to kind of counterbalance the daily sitting that's I mean, I'm over-exaggerating right now, or I'm exaggerating right now, but I think you get the point. The next pose is the banana, and this is really great for the spine as well, because we always want to make sure we give our spine a nice twist and a nice bend left and right in every class or in every session. The next pose is kind of optional. I don't do it every day, but every once in a while I like to do the waterfall. And the waterfall pose is really, really great because a lot of toxins and heavy metals are also stored in the bottom of our feet, especially if we're sitting a lot, if we're standing a lot. And basically when we do this pose, all of that gets re-entered into our circulation, into our bloodstream, and then we can eliminate it through that. And I've definitely found that the lower parts of my legs, my feet look a lot leaner when I do this pose. So I think it's a really, really great pose for detoxification as well. And then the very last pose is a twist. This is so amazing for massaging our digestive system. I do it in both directions. Those were all the poses that I pretty much do every morning. And other than that, make sure to check out this video on the screen, which YouTube thinks you might like. And I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!